One of the things that the general and I spoke about this morning was the idea of political authenticity. He said that it was something that the political system has been starving for decades. He said that it was something that Donald Trump brought to the table unquestionably. He said, Donald Trump was, and this is a quote, the most imperfect candidate that he had ever seen. And he stressed that point because perfection isn't what matters in a politician. It's authenticity. It's willingness to fight for what you believe in. And so, we've got a clip number 5 here. We're going to show right away of, General Flynn talking about this issue of authenticity and Trump's candidacy.
I'm going to tell you what, one of the things that Donald Trump gave the United States of America was authenticity. Donald Trump was an authentic guy. I used to introduce him at rallies in the 2016 campaign as the most imperfect, and I'll say that again, as the most imperfect candidate you're ever going to vote for to be president of the United States. Because Donald Trump is not a perfect guy. He never said he was. What he is he's tough. He's not an establishment guy. He's a Washington outsider. And that's what the American people wanted then. That's what they wanted in 2020. And I believe in 2024, if we are able to have a free, fair, and transparent election for the next president of the United States in 2024, that we have, clearly we're going to require some election reform to get there. Have to take a hard look at these machines and definitely have a much better plan to stop foreign interference in our elections. But I believe that the establishment is not a good place to be if you're defined as an establishment candidate in the 2024 presidential election.
So now we actually discussed this just yesterday, Josh, you and I were on the show, and we discussed kind of what's been going on with the infighting in the Republican Party, kind of what the establishment could leave behind, what they've been good at historically, what Trump's coalition was good at, and what they could leave behind. The issue of authenticity, I think it really did strike me in this interview. Trump brought it to the table, and there's no question that, some of it was divisive, the way that he behaved, but he got the job done, no questions asked. And so I guess what I wanted to kind of discuss right now and what I wanted to kind of throw at you guys was, we know that almost guaranteed, even CNN reporters are referring to what's going to happen in terms of a final vote as it's going to be an acquittal vote. They're not even talking about a potential conviction. It's guaranteed dead on arrival right now, this Senate trial. So the folks who have gone along with this, Cheney, Kinzinger, and then whoever we see in the Senate, Romney, do we see them getting pushed out of the party? I know General Flynn and I spoke about that today, but what are you guys' thoughts on that?
I think it is. I think it's kind of a changed party at this point, because I think that the events over the last few years have really shown that there are people in the Republican Party, there are citizens that identify with the Republican Party that don't agree with some of the policies and the rhetoric that these more establishment Republicans have been putting out there. Like, I think definitely people are not on board with Mitt Romney, for one. We've seen just countless examples of these people, rhinos that are basically going along with Democratic policies, but kind of hiding under that name Republican. And I think that a lot more people are waking up to that. And so I do definitely think that they could be shoved out of the party.
I don't know the answer to that. It was either Matt Gaetz or Josh Hawley who was up in Liz Cheney's backyard talking about how she needed to go. It was time. It was Gaetz. No, I had it backward then. I was really, anyway. That's an interesting thing. To have an out-of-state political actor come in and say, from a different house, he's from the House, not the Senate, come in and say, look, you guys there needs to be some buyer's remorse here. You need to get rid of her. I think that's interesting. I don't know. Tip O'Neill, who's Speaker of the House, 40 years ago, he said all politics is ultimately local. All politics is local. I think that's true. And look, if you're in the House or you're in the Senate, you know that. As long as they're keeping their constituents happy, I think it's harder to get them out, especially if the idea is to primary them, because then they're going from a known quantity to an unknown quantity. That's harder, and presumably a known quantity that they're reasonably happy with. And so I don't know the answer to that. I think this is probably going to close out, at least for the short to medium term, Trump's involvement with the party itself, and maybe bring some of these things to a close and give time for some things to scab over, and maybe heal up a little bit. And when he does show back up, maybe he'll actually be a little more palatable to some of those people.